chaotic, and from the title, if you clicked on this video, we are going to be talking about Honey's birth story. I don't know, Honey's our 8th child. She's, 16 weeks and some change now, maybe 17 weeks. Let's say Wednesday. She's 16 weeks and some change now, I think. And her, even though she's my 8th child, she is the first child that I had unmedicated. So this is her birth story, and not only for anybody who wants to listen, but also it'll be a good memory, I feel like, for us, because I don't have a recap of 7 other birth stories. There's maybe the last 3.
Yeah.
I think is what we have for them. So she was born on a Thursday, so the Wednesday before I had her, we were doing youth. I'm on the youth worship team, and I serve in youth as a youth leader at my church. And all day Wednesday I was laboring, all day. Nothing too crazy though, just and inconsistent. So I really didn't think it was anything. When I got to worship, I was still laboring, like practice before we warm up for the kids come in. And I remember having to sit down, had to pull out a chair, I had to sit down during worship, and everyone's like, "Whoa, are you okay?" You know how they give you a hard time when you're pregnant, basically. And so I'm like, "It's fine, I'll just sit down." And so I did that, and we got through the worship set and went to, I don't remember if we did small groups that night, but we talked with the kids, mingled with the kids, and at the end of worship, at the end of the message for the youth kids, my contractions were 11 minutes apart. And so I'm thinking, maybe I'll go in tonight, when I get home. But no, I got home, we went to bed, and basically I labored all night, but still didn't think I was laboring as, I'm thinking Braxton Hicks, because they were like not consistent.
Yeah.
So, woke up a couple of times, timed a couple of contractions, and was still really landing at about 18 minutes apart from our contractions. So I'm thinking, this is my 8th kid, I know how to do this. I know what I'm looking, I'm like, it's a lot, but like, I know how to do this. I know how this is gonna play out. And then at 5:11, I have notes. At 5:11, I end up calling the doctor. Well, I asked Devon, probably, I think I did that. I was like, should I call the doctor? Yeah. Call the doctor and tell them what's going on to my 8th kid, that it's getting more intense. And well, I tell them all that, and then I don't know if every OB/GYN is like this, but because it's so early in the morning, you have like a nurse that's on call. And so I tell her all these details, and she says she'll have the doctor call me back. And so then about 6 minutes later, the doctor calls me back and tells me, hey, all that sounds normal. Go ahead and go to the hospital. Yeah. And I feel like from the time that they said that, like my contractions were on, because I wasn't like, I was in pain, but I remember trying to get my hospital bag ready and like being on the floor, like, oh, screaming. Like never felt a pain like that before in my life. Basically we are in the room, I'm brushing my teeth. I remember hitting the floor in the bathroom as well, trying to brush my teeth and like get ready. And we finally get everything out into the living room, and I hit the floor again. Like, oh, surprised I didn't wake up all the kids, because
they was knocked out though, for sure. So, but
I'm surprised I didn't wake them up. But anyways, I was on the floor screaming. So we finally get everything that I had packed. I think in the video, either before this one, I put like everything I took in my hospital bag, so I had that kind of pre-packed. Yeah. And just grabbing things that you don't pack, like your cell phone charger and your toothbrush and things like that, until the time. So we got that out to the living room. I screamed some more in the living room, and then you helped me out to the car. You took all the luggage out to the car, and I sat in the car, but Devon went back in the house to let another child know
Yeah, it was letting younger kids, well, our older kids know pretty much what's happening, what's going on, and how I'm taking mom to the hospital. I think she's in labor. Well, at this point, I don't know what's happening, but I was like, I think it's going to happen today. So, and they was half asleep, but also excited at the same exact time. But I wanted to just at least make sure the 3 oldest kids knew what was happening.
Okay, so so he's doing that. He's helped me to the car. He went back into the house to make sure everything's all buttoned up. And I'm like, it's January, so every year I start running a quarter of a mile and increase by a quarter of a mile each month. So January is the first month of the year, so I'm running just a quarter mile. It takes me like, I don't know, 2.5 minutes. I'm more of a jogger than a runner, so it takes me 2.5 minutes. So I'm like, oh, well, I know they're not gonna let me run in the hospital, and I don't know, this is feeling like this is active labor, so I might as well get my run in. So a contraction happens, I'm in the front seat dying, contraction ends, I jump out the car while he's in the house, and I do my run. And I get like 1 contraction, I think, on the way, and make it back to the car before he even comes back out. But I got my run in for that day, and then I missed only 1 run so far for the year, which is the day that I delivered her, because they won't let me at the hospital. And so I decided to walk around the hallway. It took me 15 minutes to hit a quarter of a mile, because you're walking inside, and it was difficult. But either way, I got my quarter of a mile in. So anyways, I get back to the car, sit down, still dying. He gets back to the car. You pull off. We get to the end of our street. You turn towards the hospital, and I'm like, pull over, I gotta throw up.
Yeah, and I think at that point, I was like, okay, are you about to deliver this baby right here on the side of the street? But then you
open the door. He pulled over, I threw up. Close the door. Go to the hospital. I gotta go to the hospital. So we get to the hospital. I think we're like 13 minutes away from the hospital, right?
13 minutes away, yeah.
So, I remember you pulling into the emergency, getting out of your side, helping me out of my side, walking me into the emergency room. And then they're like, like, what's your deal? Why are you here? And I remember just sinking down to the floor because I was having another contraction. I was basically around Devon's ankles at this time, and looking up, and you're telling me.
Trying to give the nurse all the information as far as like, oh yes, pretty much, 8th child, and pretty much at this point I'm thinking active labor. So I'm like, can we get somebody right now?
Yeah. So
she's not moving. She's not getting out.
Yeah. So they brought a wheelchair, and then I like got in the wheelchair. They pushed me into like the assessment room after they assessed us at the counter. So talking to another nurse, she's asking me all these questions. I don't even remember the questions. Do you remember any of the questions that the first nurse asked me?
No.
I
really don't.
I don't even know. I was just mad at that point. Like, stop asking these questions. This hurts. Please give me my epidural. I knew I wasn't getting an epidural, but I just kept asking for it. Yeah. So I don't remember what I did. We got to the hospital at like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And so she lets me out of that little jail that she asked me all the questions in, and wheels me to the maternity ward. So that's like a hallway, an elevator ride, another hallway, and finally to the triage room. And let me see, pretty
much once you got there, one of the nurses came in to inspect you to see how far along you were.
You had a dress for that, yeah. Okay. I don't remember that. I remember using the bathroom and then them checking me. So you're saying they checked me first?
They had checked you first.
Okay, so they checked me first, I guess, and then I went to the bathroom, and that's when my water broke. And I'm like, my water broke in the bathroom. And the nurse comes in, helps me get up, and they pretty much deemed that I'm fully dilated, just ready to push. What in the world? Where's my epidural? Give me my epidural. I don't care if I'm not gonna stay still, jab it in my back at this point.
That wasn't happening. Can't do nothing about that.
So after that, basically it was just like, hey guys, she's gonna deliver the baby, like get the nurses, get the doctor. It was not the doctor that I'd been seeing for the pregnancy. It was a different doctor that was in the practice that I go to. And he's like, I don't know. Basically the nurses are like, I could hear them. What it sounded to me was like, this is her 8th baby, and I'm over there dying, trying to rip the handles of the hospital bed off. I'm like, give me my epidural, and like trying to hulk out of the bed. And they're like, this is her 8th baby, but it was my 8th baby, first unmedicated, all 7 medication. So that was easy peasy, lemon squeezy compared to this. I will never forget this birth. And now I really won't forget it because we're recording, but I will never forget it. Just remember just being in pain, them putting the monitor on me, being in pain, them waiting for the doctor to ask me questions that I don't want to answer. I remember throwing a pen or something across the room because I was annoyed with them. Yeah.
You was definitely something else. I just kept quiet the whole time, honestly, because I was just in shock as far as like everything that I was encountering and witnessing. Because I'm like, so this is how it feels without medication? It's like, this is crazy. This is crazy.
Everyone, all my natural people trying to tell me, hey, if you plan for it, then you just expect it. You take it much better. I don't believe y'all. It was the same pain. If I had decided I'm having this baby natural, I would have encountered the same exact pain. And yeah, not for me. Epidural's for me. Now, I mean, I did it. I'm alive, but I don't ever want to do it again. I don't ever want to do it again. Medication is my friend. But so the doctor is still talking to me. Finally, they hold my legs up and he's like, okay, at the next contraction, while I feel like he was still getting ready. I felt like he was still like pulling his, I felt like he was like putting his stuff on his,
He was trying to prolong some time because he wasn't ready yet.
I don't know, but I felt like he was still getting ready. He's like, at the next contraction, you're gonna push. And it was so painful. I was like, bet I'm gonna push. I'm gonna push. One push, Hulk scream, and she came right out. And I just remember seeing her all like crumpled up. And still didn't know it was a girl at the time because we didn't find the sex of the baby. We haven't found the sex of the last 6 kids. No, 6. So the last 5 kids. The last 5 kids, we have not found the sex out until I delivered. So I pushed her out, mad because I was in pain. But the contractions did stop. I know some people say they get contractions and like until the placenta is delivered, but that didn't happen to me. I delivered, contractions stopped. Now it's just the pain of the process, basically. And I remember like, go take her over there and tell me her vitals because I'm mad at all of y'all who didn't give me epidural. And so they took her, did all her vitals. She was 6 pounds 15 ounces. She was born at 6:56, so it took 56 minutes from the time I got to the hospital to actually deliver her, even though I probably could have delivered her in the car when I threw up. She was 19 1/4. She was 19 1/4 inches long. And so they did all that, and then they're still like pushing on your stomach. Guys who have delivered babies, they're doing all the things. They're pushing on your stomach so I can deliver the placenta. That's delivered. That's annoying. And then he's stitching me up. And what I didn't say is when I, pushed her out in one shot, he was like, whoa, that's too fast. But it was done. Like, she was out. Yeah. And so I did get stitches. I mean, I feel like even with epidural, I still have stitches. I think I had stitches for every time. Mm-hmm. At least 1 or 2. So...
But you'll never notice it because you have
correct, the epidural. So I'm not even quite sure, but I think that I've torn every time. And so this time, they're like, oh, do you want us to give you something for the pain? After I delivered the baby. So, like, what? Y'all got this backwards. This is not how it works. After I delivered the baby, you asked me if I want something for the pain. Anyways, they give me something in my IV that they had set around. I feel like it was just weird because I wasn't hooked up to anything. They got the, what do you call it? The IV ready, or like the, whatever part they put in your vein to get ready for medicine to be administered. But I wasn't hooked up to anything when I delivered her because I came in there ready to push. So that's just crazy to me that I was hooked up to nothing.
No, you was hooked up to something.
I wasn't hooked up to anything. They just got it ready. They just got it ready. And then after I delivered, and they asked me for my pain medication. After I delivered, they shot something from a syringe into my body, and I don't know what it was. I just know that I felt queasy and like I was going in and out of consciousness, I guess. I'm not sure if that's a side effect, but I was there, I wasn't. But then at the same time, I could still feel Doc doing all the things he was doing, and he's trying to have a conversation with me about nothing. It was a big nothing burger he was talking about. It was nothing. He was talking about nothing. And I'm like, I don't want to talk to you. Just do your job, stitch all the things. But then again, I kept like feeling my head fall to the side, and like I'm going in and out of sleep with whatever they put in my veins. And so finally he finishes doing what he's supposed to do. And then I really don't remember. Well, they brought baby over. I think I called a friend and FaceTimed her and said, hey, by the way, you're right. I was in labor yesterday. And here's baby girl. And so that's basically what we called her, because we didn't have a name for her, because we didn't have a name for a boy or girl. We have a list of a list that's 15 years old of all the names we hear and like, but at that point we hadn't settled on a name. So we just were saying baby girl's born, and that broke your pattern of knowing,
of trying to guess,
of guessing. I mean, you didn't try to guess, you guessed correctly for the last 4 kids about if it would be a boy or girl. So he guessed boy this time. I really don't ever guess really, and it was a girl, so now we have 2 girls in a row. So yeah, I called my friend, FaceTime her, told her she was right about my labor. And then I just going in and out of sleep, in and out of sleep, in and out of sleep, in and out of sleep. How long was it after I delivered that you left to go with the kids? I don't remember what time you came with them. Because they let you bring all the kids except Jordeyn. Jordan's my oldest, he's 19. Well, was he 19 at the time? No, he was 18 at the time. And he was at work. I think
he was at work.
He was at work, and so he didn't come.
Well, I think it was like 3 hours after you delivered, and that's when I got the kids.
Okay, 3 hours. So they brought all the kids come, they hung out. I was not really that conscious. I was in and out of sleep, in and out of sleep, in and out of sleep. They left. Took them home, got them situated. I hung out with baby because I couldn't go anywhere. It wouldn't let me leave. You know what? If I knew this is how it would go down, I would have delivered at a birthing center, because then I would have been able to go home 4 hours later. Yeah. But because you're in the hospital, and they just didn't let me go home, so that was annoying. Even though I just delivered a baby, but that doesn't matter. I still want to go home. But and don't hit me with, oh, you should have had a home birth. I wanted an epidural. Can't get an epidural with a home birth. You can get like, your husband squeezing your hips together to release the pressure, not an epidural. So he went home, and I just slept on and off with her. Still was just calling her baby girl. They kept bothering me. What's her vitals? What's my vitals? And it was something that I wasn't used to, because I don't remember even in Huntsville Hospital. I delivered in Decatur, Alabama, and the 7th baby I delivered in Huntsville, Alabama, and then all the 1 through 6 I delivered in New York, Buffalo, New York. And I don't remember even in Huntsville them assigning me a nurse, and they assigned we don't know her name at this point. They assigned the baby a nurse as well, and so the nurse would come in for the baby and check the baby's vital, and then the nurse would come in for me and check my vitals. So it was interesting that we had 2 different nurses for that, but they did that. And then finally you came back at around 11, like 10 or 11 o'clock, right?
11 o'clock, yeah. At
night. So 10 or 11 o'clock at night he comes back, and we're like, we gotta get this name situated. We can't call her the baby forever. So we go through, and we land first on Denver Snow. Yeah. Denver Snow. Like that a lot. Cool name. But it was just like, I don't know, that's cool, but I don't know. And so we kept going through reading stuff on Pinterest, reading stuff online, reading names, and finally I say Honey Faith. And I feel like you pointed at me and was like, that's it. I don't know. That's it. I was like, I'm like, oh, but Denver Snow, Honey Faith. And so we ended on Honey Faith is her name. And it was nice after a whole day of her not having a name, to say, oh, what's her name? Her name's Honey. And then friends were telling me, well, it's cute now, honey, and then when she becomes a grandma, it will be cute for her grandkids to call her honey. I'm like, oh, it will be so cute. So, but then we were saying like honey faith because it like the sweet faith of Jesus.
Yes.
So I like that a lot. And then you said that you thought it was nice the way this worship set was at our church that weekend. So I delivered her on Thursday, and then the Sunday we went to church, and
it was just like, just remember speaking with one of our friends at the church who was on the worship team, and he was just pretty much saying, it's amazing that you named your daughter that because the first song that we're opening up with is Honey on the Rock.
Honey on the Rock, yeah. So that was cute.
Yeah.
Pastor even gave us a shout out like Honey in the Rock, like Honey in the Rock. So yeah, that night she, I think you only stayed an hour because you had to get back home
to be with the kids.
Yeah, to be with the kids and stuff. So you only stayed an hour. We got her name nailed down, and then I went to bed that night. You went home, and then the next day, you had a track meet. That's why you went home, because you had a track meet the next day.
No, but I didn't go.
Oh, yeah, you did. You went on Saturday, so it was Friday. So the next day, Friday, you were still there. Okay, so I'm getting ahead of myself. So I had her on Thursday. Woke up the next morning, Friday, and you came back with the kids. You brought the kids again, and you guys stayed for a few hours. And then I just was held up in the hospital, because that's what you are when you deliver a baby. You just held up in the hospital. That's why I did my half a mile walk around the hallways. Wonder if it felt like ghost town, like were other babies born? And they're like, yeah, other babies are born, but no other moms were out walking around. But I guess, I don't know, people have told me that my births are not normal, or they feel not normal. Like that I recover really fast. I feel good fast. Yes, I was sore, but not so sore that I couldn't walk around for 15 minutes in circles trying to get my quarter of a mile mark. And I didn't see one other mom in that 15 minutes. And I walked out there a couple times, didn't spend 15 minutes out there, just was bored. So I walked out there and see no one else, not another mom. But
put your home bodies. I didn't want to move or get out.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, people take it, when you deliver babies, like you're gonna rest as much as you can. But I was ready to get out of there. So all day Friday, the kids come and visit. We watched some cartoons. I think I fell asleep. You fell asleep.
Yeah.
We just kind of hung out that day, and then Saturday is the day where you had something with the track, because somebody else picked me up from the hospital. Yeah, I think it was the track, because I was like, there's no point in you staying here if somebody else can. It was something he already had planned. It was with the school, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think so. It wasn't like a personal track meet or anything. Yeah, it was a track meet that he already had scheduled on the calendar. I'm like, this is no big deal. Go to your track meet. You plan to be back before the kids' basketball game that Saturday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So she's born into like a full schedule, and I'm not one to like. Obviously, I'll break the plans where I'm locked up in the hospital, but all my other plans that I had, I usually keep them after I deliver. So that Saturday, and in the morning, the kids had a basketball game. So there was 2 kids that had a basketball game. You were gonna miss the first set of kids' basketball game, but you would make it for the second kids' set of basketball games. Yeah. So that morning, my friend picked me up from the hospital with Miss Honeyfaith, and I'll show some footage maybe here. Okay, so here's my hospital room. This is where I delivered, and this is where I stayed. It's a pretty large room that pulls out to a bed. Got Miss Honey over there, and a bathroom right over here. Just toilet, sink, shower, but large room. So when all the kids were here, it was real easy. Oh, she's sleeping. I am just excited to go home. I'm waiting for somebody to come and release me. I pretty much have everything situated and ready. I just haven't woken up Honey to change her. And I have a friend coming to pick me up because Devon is an hour away. yeah, he had to be there, and it was not a super big deal for him not to be here. And I had some kids. One of my friends picked up some of my other kids to take them to their basketball game that they had today. So everything's going well. I feel pretty good, regular soreness, but I can't wait to sit down and talk about this birth in detail because, guys, what? Yeah, I'm just waiting for the nurse to come back now, and I'm going to take me a nap while I wait because she's napping. I'm going to nap. Yeah, that was the hospital room. That was just my thoughts and feelings at that time. I didn't actually do much vlogging. Well, I couldn't because I was delivering a child that I didn't even know I was delivering a child. I was in labor, didn't even know I was in labor. Boom, here she is. So there was no footage this time around of labor in there. We normally do that.
And now I'm thinking, actually, I didn't miss no kids basketball game because they actually changed one of the kids games to that Friday. Because I remember us leaving the hospital, going to the game.
I don't remember that.
They had a late game. I'm pretty
Where's
sure.
my phone?
It was Milo had a late game.
So that was the game I missed.
That's the game that you missed. But then they had
But I still had a game.
Then they had a game Saturday.
No, you're not right. Yeah. You're not right. No, I know I'm not. Or you're not right because I get out. I get home. I went to the first kids basketball game. The second kids basketball game was delayed, and there was a larger gap. Or maybe it was the first kids basketball game was delayed, and there was a larger gap. Yeah, I got home getting ready to like rush to the basketball game, and then they're like, "Oh, they delayed it a little bit," but you still weren't there. And I think you showed up during the game.
I know that. Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, that's neither here nor there for Honey's birth story, but we just worked out a potential marital issue. So,
Sure.
Let me see if I had any other notes that I wanted to say. So yeah. So if you ask me about a natural birth, it's a 0 out of 10 stars. I do not recommend. That's my Amazon review of natural birth. I do not.
Amazon.
Do not recommend.
Amazon is not sponsoring this video.
Which could though. But yeah, it was something. Yep, got out of the hospital, went to the basketball games. Was still sore though. I remember I borrowed my mom's little like bucket seat for the bleachers. That was nice. That was nice because I was able to sit back and relax and enjoy the kids basketball game. And then the next day was Sunday, and we went to church. And people always get me like, "Oh, why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you here?" But really, if the Lord allows me to feel good, I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to. It really has nothing to do with me. I feel like the Lord has given me these genes that I have, and I just feel well after I deliver, and so I'm gonna continue moving and shaking. And I do know when to sit down. I do know when I feel tired, and we'll do that when I need to. But I felt good despite the fact that I felt horrible while I was delivering the child with no medication. I'll never get over it.
I know you won't.
I don't think I ever will. I mean, okay, hoorah, I had a natural birth, but I didn't want it.
You didn't ask for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I got to think about what the Lord was trying to teach me through that natural birth, because He knew I was going to have a natural birth this whole time, this whole pregnancy. I'm like, I want my epidural. The baby's name should have been Epidural, because I don't know how many times I said epidural throughout the pregnancy. But I'm sure that I'll think of it over the rest of my life. What was it the Lord was trying to teach me through this natural birth?
You can do all things to the Lord.
Yes, this is true.
No, but I don't think that was a message. But it's probably saying, hey, you probably don't. You're probably saying, you don't always have to rely on medication to get you through things.
I don't, for the most part, except for birth. So.
Okay, try it.
But yeah, anything else you want to add?
No, I think we covered a lot.
Yeah.
We said a lot.
Yeah, we did. But that was Honey's birth story, our 8th baby. Are we done?
Yes.
Yes, we're done. We said on camera for the world to know. Are we done having children?
Yes.
Well, how? Okay. That's the conversation we'll have off camera because you guys don't get to decide with us. This is a A and B decision. So
see you later.
Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. If you have a birth story that you want to share in the comments, please let me know about your natural birth experience. Planned, unplanned. If you would do it again, I want to know. I want to know all the things. I can live through other people, even though I would not prefer to have a natural birth again. I can read through the comments and appreciate other people's opinion on it. But do that, and we'll talk to you soon in another video. Bye.